Hi everyone, hope you are doing well wherever you are in the world. I am in New York City and I really want to invite you to join me for a vigil this Thursday at 4:45 p.m. by City Hall. And the vigil is actually organized in honor of Shmuel Silverberg, the young kid who was shot in front of his yeshiva school in Denver. And even though many argues that it was not pure Jew hatred, so it was not Jew hatred driven or anti-Semitic driven, it might be the case, since that night, that group of kids actually went bizarre, crazy, and just shot at people, and they have records, and it's a whole balagan and a whole mess. But the fact that this Jewish kid died, it doesn't matter whether it was driven by Jew hatred at this sense or not, because any other minority group would not really care what was the reason for the death of that kid from their own community. But the vigil is even more. The vigil is not only about Shmuel. The vigil that we are organizing this Thursday in Manhattan is also about Jew hatred at large. It's in honoring all those Jews who had to die only this year because of Jew hatred, anti-Semitism, anti-Israelism, anti-Zionism. You name the way you want. Just like soldier Baral Hadari Shmueli, who died this morning because of all the injuries that he got from a seemingly or a projectedly peaceful demonstration at the Gaza border. He also died simply for the fact because he was a Jew, or he was an Israeli, or he was protecting his own country. And my recent article was about how the American Jews are still not angry enough, how the diaspora Jews are still not angry enough. And it's so true. Look at the number of the people who are actually doing something, actively protesting, voicing their demand so that there is a consequence when Jew hatred happens. And I'm going to read you some statistics that just came out. They did a survey among college students, and September is here, college is starting again. And with all the COVID thing that we know, that the trending hashtag when COVID started was, hashtag 48, basically the creation of Israel was equated with the spread of COVID as a virus. And then what happened, in May, everything just elevated anti-Israelism, anti-Judaism, anti-Jewishness. So this is how now the college kids are going back to college, where the situation was already horrible. So this one is a recent survey. Out of everyone they asked, almost 100% of the respondents said that anti-Semitism was a problem on their campus. Can you imagine any other minority group just remain silent if the hatred against their group would be basically 100%? 95% of the respondents identified anti-Semitism as a problem on U.S. college campuses, with 3 out of 4 describing it as a very serious problem. Of course it is a serious problem when the professors are discriminating you if you are a Zionist. If you write any essay just remotely putting Israel in a positive light, or if you are a lone soldier and it gets to be known on the campus, you are discriminated, you are called a child killer, you are called an apartheid leader, you are called a genocide supporter. This is what's happening on US college campuses. But the statistics go further. 79% of the respondents had experienced anti-Semitic threats. Really, that's why you attend college, that it's not enough that you need to deal with your daily, amount of stress and workload or study load, but you also need to deal with anti-Semitic remarks. And just recently there was a case again in one of the colleges in America that a professor just said some blatantly hurtful comment about the Holocaust. And when the student raised his hand that, hey, this is actually very offensive to me as a Jew, the professor just, shut his shoulder and went on with the day as business as usual. There is no consequence to Jew hatred. Whereas for racism today, whoever is remotely making a comment that can be labeled as racist, you are cancelled, you are fired, you are out of this world immediately. But when it comes to Jews, somehow the picture is that Jews are the privileged, white, rich people. So we don't need to feel sorry for them. I mean, they've got everything, right? Whereas every other minority group is actually someone who is the underdog, someone who we need to cudgel up, someone who we need to feel sorry for. But that's not the factual situation, once again. One more statistical situation here. 44% of the respondents had experienced being physically threatened because they identify as Jewish. So basically, you go to college campuses and you don't know if you're getting out of life today or not. And it might sound exaggerated, but it is actually not. Whenever I have a speaking engagement, it's a full disclosure that I'm not going home directly, or that I am not going home alone directly. Like, there is a danger today to be a publicly open Zionist or someone who is Jewish, and that has to end. So this Thursday in Manhattan, under the umbrella of the End Jew Hatred movement, I'm organizing and I'm holding a vigil in Manhattan again, in City Hall, 4:45 p.m. And again, you can discuss, whether the young boy in Denver was killed because he was a Jew or he was just coincidentally there and being shot. It's a bigger issue. It's a bigger issue, and Shmuel had to die, and Bar al-Hadari had to die simply because of hate. And you know what's very interesting, actually, back to the guy in Denver? If you saw the 5 names of, the shooters or the whole mass and the whole mob who was attacking people in Denver, partially they have Jewish names. So I don't know if they're Jewish or not, but that is just the craziness on everything else. But Jew hatred is unfortunately rising without consequences. And if anything we need to achieve under our generation is that you need to be shameful if you are a Jew hater. You need to feel shame if you are making an anti-Semitic remark. And that unfortunately does not happen if we remain silent. So don't be a bystander. Join me on Thursday at 4:45 City Hall. You can message me if you don't really know where it is. You can message me, if you want to take part in any other vigils, or you don't know what to do and you're just frustrated. Let's do something together. And I know that I'm less active now on Facebook. It's partially because Facebook anyway keeps blocking me. So, why the hassle just to go against odds? But it doesn't mean that I'm not working. I'm actually working on several projects with different incredible organizations and movements. And I really, really hope that we can slowly but surely move the needle. And I welcome your ideas as always. I welcome your feedback as always. We are in this together, and the whole world is going through so much that, we only take one day at a time. And regardless of all this craziness that surrounds us, I really hope that you guys are doing well. And for me, it's totally public that skating keeps me sane, and that really is something that I find so much pleasure of, that, it has to balance out all this news. But I just wanted to come live and share with you the event and share with you the why of the event. And also, when I read these statistics, this is just shocking, especially now that college is coming back again in person. So these college kids are going to face even more Jew hatred than before, which was already a horrifying number and situation. I'm just going to read one comment here from Leba. It's true, it happened to me in 1990. Wow. Plus, in Middle East politics and Israel under guise of humanitarianism was actually anti-Israel. Yes, and that really didn't get better. My 1990 already, you experienced that. It's so interesting because the people I talk with here who graduated from Columbia College, for example, they said that when they were college students, kind of like the same era that you mentioned, they said that they never had to really be so defensive about their Jewishness, or they never had to face so much hatred towards themselves because of Israel or because they were Jewish. And people ask me about my college experience in New York, but it's very different because I attended a Jewish-led college campus, so I didn't have to face all these things. And I often think college itself was difficult enough, and the study load and the workload and everything. So if I should have dealt with also all the hatred, that would have been very unfortunate. And especially in these Ivy League colleges, I mean, we all know how much it costs to be there, and then you cannot even enjoy because you need to deal with all these professors. Probably most of you know that I do work with the Lawfare Project, so they offer pro bono consultancy and pro bono legal help for all those students who are facing harassment or discrimination on college campuses. So if you or your kids or whoever, your neighbor's kid is facing anti-Semitism on college campuses, the Lawfare Project is always a place to go to. And then there is another project I'm working on, which is the Shield of David, primarily in California now. I am working on their curriculum, and basically what we are offering is a 6-week training program which consists of 10-15 minutes of a Jewish Zionist education, but really targeted for this generation, so with their quick attention span. And then it is followed by 50 minutes of Krav Maga education. So we want to prepare these kids really to be able to defend themselves both intellectually and physically against any kind of violence. So this is the other project that I am really busy with now because college is starting, and we really want to make this curriculum on spot and to the point for this generation. Yes, I will share the links for everything. And once again, if you guys are in New York, please meet me this Thursday, 4:45 p.m. by City Hall. And it's going to be short but memorable. And again, it is in honor of all the Jews who had to die this year simply for being a Jew. And as a closing remark, probably most of you know that I knew Ari Fuld, and his yard site is coming up, so I'm going to dedicate this vigil also to him, because dying in Judah and Samaria for being a Jew, I think that's really is showing the severity of the situation. So I'm going to remember Ari on Thursday as well, and I hope you guys join me if you are in the city, and if not, then just from the distance, do what you can. And if you ever need any help, what you can do locally, then, feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to share with you all the experience that I have in building communities and mobilization and doing protests or doing vigils or doing anything that's meaningful and raising awareness. And as I always say nowadays, if you have a non-Jewish neighbor, invite them over for Shabbat, because you never know what that is going to start in that neighbor. And with that little thing, you might start such a ripple effect that you are starting a bigger change than you even anticipate. So the small things always matter. And with that, I wish you a good rest of the week. It's been quite a day for me, so it was a beautiful day, but quite a day. So I'm going to go offline now and really just Shavua Tov, guys.